Welcome to the peaceful space of sleep-friendly science, where tonight we gently pull back the curtain on reality itself, exploring the quiet whisper of quantum mechanics that suggests other worlds might exist alongside our very own. As you find your comfortable position, allow your mind to gently wander. Have you ever wondered about the paths not taken? Tonight, we'll explore the beautiful, mind-bending idea that these paths might exist as parallel worlds shimmering just beyond our perception. A universe for every possibility. Now settle in, take a deep breath, and let the soft sounds guide you as we begin tonight's journey into the unknown. Section 1. The Garden of Forking Paths. And so we begin. Imagine for a moment the day that is now gently closing its eyes. Think of a simple, small choice you made. Perhaps it was at a crossroads during an afternoon walk where one path led through a sun-dappled park and the other along a quiet, familiar street. You paused just for a breath, the world holding itself in perfect balance. Then you chose. You turned one way and the other path, the other afternoon, became a ghost, a silent what if that dissolved behind you. But what if it didn't dissolve? What if, in that quiet moment of decision, reality itself, like a river meeting a stone, simply split into two streams? In one, you are here now, listening to these words, the memory of the path you took settled comfortably within you. But in the other, a copy of you, just as real, just as solid, is living out the gentle consequences of that other choice. Perhaps that version of you is also settling down for the night, a slightly different memory of the afternoon sun warming their thoughts. They are not a ghost. They are you. This is the central, breathtaking idea we are exploring tonight. It's a concept that feels like it belongs in poetry or a dream, yet it is born from the most precise and challenging science we have ever conceived, quantum mechanics. For a long time, we saw the universe as a single, grand story written in ink. One event leads to the next, in a straight, unbroken line from the beginning of time to its very end. Your life, in this view, is a single sentence in that enormous book. But the quantum world, the world of the unimaginably small, doesn't seem to follow such a straightforward plot. Down there, in the realm of atoms and particles, things are not so definite. They are hazy, shimmering clouds of pure potential. A particle isn't here or there, it is in a state of being both and neither all at once. It exists as a wave of possibility, a soft hum of every outcome it could possibly embrace. Think of it like this: before you made your choice on that walk, both futures, the park and the street, existed within you as a potential. You could feel the pull of each one. For a fleeting second, you were a person who was about to walk through the park, and you were also a person who was about to walk down the street. You held both worlds inside you. The quantum world suggests that this state of holding all possibilities at once is the fundamental nature of reality. The universe, at every moment on a trillion unseen levels, is standing at a crossroads. An electron is faced with a choice, to spin up or to spin down. A photon is faced with a choice, to pass through the slit or that one. A radioactive atom hums with a decision, to decay now or to wait another 1,000 years. For a long time, we believed that the universe, like you, simply made a choice. A dice was thrown, a coin was flipped, and one path was taken while the other vanished into nothingness. It was a lonely idea in a way. A universe filled with the ghosts of lost possibilities, of worlds that could have been but never were. A cosmos of cosmic regret. But in the middle of the 20th century, a young physicist named Everett proposed something far more radical, far more beautiful, and far more strange. He looked at the mathematics, the elegant and undeniable equations that describe this quantum world, and he suggested the most straightforward interpretation. The universe never has to choose. When faced with a quantum crossroads, it doesn't pick one path. It takes them all. Reality doesn't collapse into a single state. It branches. It blossoms. In the moment that electron makes its choice to spin up, the entire universe splits in two. In one universe, the electron is spinning up. In the other, identical in every other way, it is spinning down. And you and I and the Earth and the starsway are all split along with it. So, the other path you didn't take this afternoon? It wasn't a ghost. It became a garden. A whole new universe branching off from the moment of your decision, a world identical to this one except for the path you took. And in that universe, another you is now living, breathing, dreaming. You are not lessened by this split. You are not divided. Reality itself has become more. It has expanded to contain both outcomes. Imagine your life not as a single thread, but as an infinitely branching tree. At birth, it is a single trunk, but with every choice, every random quantum flicker in the cosmos, new branches grow. A branch where you said yes instead of no. A branch where you missed the bus and one where you caught it. A branch where you turned left and one where you turned right. An infinity of yous, each one living out a full and complete life, each one convinced that their reality is the only one. Each of you is the main character in your own story, unaware of the vast, silent library of other volumes that exist right alongside your own. This isn't just about your big life decisions. It's about every tiny, unobserved event. The universe is branching every femtosecond. The number of these parallel worlds is not just large. It is unimaginably vast, growing with every passing moment. A silent, invisible explosion of creation happening all around us all the time. So, as you lie here, settling into the quiet of your room, let your mind drift on this idea. The air around you feels still, but perhaps it is humming with the vibration of these other, adjacent worlds. They are not far away in some distant galaxy. They are right here, closer than your own breath. Layered over our reality like sheets of impossibly thin silk, each one vibrating with its own unique version of the story. In one of these worlds, perhaps you are not lying in this bed. Perhaps you are looking up at a different sky, on a different planet, born from a cosmic history that forked away from ours billions of years ago. In another, far closer world, the only difference is that a single leaf outside your window fell a second earlier than it did in this one. And in one, perhaps just a breath away from this one, is the you who took the other path. Who is thinking, perhaps, of the path they didn't take, the one that led them here. To you. This is the gentle, foundational thought of the many worlds. Not a universe of single, lonely paths, but an infinite, lush, and ever-growing garden of forking paths. And you are not just walking one of them. You are walking them all. Let this idea settle. Don't try to grasp it too tightly. Let it be a soft, wondrous background hum. The thought that you are not just one story, but a library. And tonight, we are going to peacefully wander through its quiet, rustling pages. Section 2, A Whisper Through Two Slits. That gentle, branching garden of reality we just imagined is not merely a poet's dream or a philosopher's fancy. It is a conclusion whispered to us by the universe itself through what is perhaps the most simple, most elegant, and most profoundly mysterious experiment ever devised. It is a story told not with words, but with light. Let us, in our shared, quiet space, build this experiment in our minds. It requires no complex machinery, only a few simple elements. First, imagine a source of light. It can be as simple as a single candle, its flame a soft, steady teardrop of gold in the darkness. This will be your storyteller. Next, some distance away from the flame, imagine a simple, flat barrier. A dark screen. And in this screen, we will cut two impossibly thin, parallel slits. Imagine them like two fine scratches made by a needle on a pane of smoked glass, or two silent doorways standing side by side. And finally, beyond this barrier, we place a wall. A screen that will act as our canvas, waiting to catch whatever passes through the two slits and record its story. A source of light, a barrier with two doors, and a canvas to receive the message. That is all. Now, let's consider what should happen. In our everyday world, the world of solid, dependable things, this is a simple question. If you were to throw a handful of fine sand at the barrier, what would you expect to see on the wall behind? The grains of sand that happen to fly through the left slit would make a pile on the wall directly behind it. The grains that fly through the right slit would make a pile behind that one. The result would be two distinct stripes of sand on the canvas. Two clear, unambiguous lines. A perfect record of the two paths taken. This is the world of certainty. the world of common sense. Let's change our sand to something more fluid. Imagine now that our source is not throwing particles, but creating waves like gentle ripples in a still, dark pond. When a wave front reaches the barrier, it passes through both slits at the same time. In doing so, it creates two new, smaller waves, each one spreading out from its own slit, like two pebbles dropped side by side into the water. And what happens when these two new waves meet? They interfere with each other. Where the crest of one wave meets the crest of another, they join together, creating a much higher wave. Where the trough of one meets the crest of another, they cancel each other out, leaving the water perfectly still. If you were to look at the back wall, you would not see two simple lines. You would see a beautiful, intricate pattern of many lines. A bright band where the waves reinforced each other, then a dark band of nothingness where they canceled out, then another bright band, and so on. A soft, zebra-stripe pattern of something and nothing, a signature that only waves can create. This is the world of flow of interference. Now, we return to our candle flame. We know that light, the fundamental stuff of our universe, is made of tiny packets of energy called photons. Individual particles. Little messengers of light. So, they should behave like the sand, shouldn't they? If we send them towards the barrier one by one, like tiny, glowing marbles, we should expect two simple, solid lines on our canvas. So we dim our candle until it is releasing just one photon at a time. A single, lonely traveler on a journey through the dark. We cannot see it on its path, but we can wait for its arrival. It passes through the silent space, meets the barrier, and makes a tiny, single mark on the wall behind. A point of light. Then, a moment later, another photon is released. It makes its journey and leaves another, separate dot of light on the wall. And then another. And another. We wait. We let this process continue in the deep, patient silence. The dots accumulate on the wall, seemingly at random. A sprinkle of starlight on our dark canvas. But as we watch as hundreds, then thousands of these individual arrivals build up, something utterly astonishing, something impossible, begins to emerge from the chaos. It is not two lines. Slowly, painstakingly, one particle at a time, the photons are painting the beautiful, striped interference pattern. The pattern of waves. Let this sink in. Let the sheer wonder of it wash over you. Each individual photon, traveling alone, somehow acts as if it is a wave. It leaves the source not as a single point, but as a cloud of possibility. A soft hum of what could be. This cloud spreads out and, in a way our minds can barely grasp, it passes through both slits at the same time. This single particle, this one lonely traveler, interferes with itself. Its potential self that went through the left slit interacts with its potential self that went through the right slit. And this ghostly interference guides the particle to land in one of the bright bands, and forbids it from landing in one of the dark ones. It is as if each particle, before it is seen, is living out all of its possibilities at once, in a gentle, hazy dream. It is a wave of pure potential. But the mystery deepens. The scientists who first saw this were as mystified as we are. They thought, we must catch it in the act. We will find out which slit it really goes through. So they decided to peek. They placed a tiny, delicate detector at the slits, a little watchman designed to do one thing, signal this one, or that one, as each photon passed by. And the moment they looked, reality held its breath and changed its mind. The moment the universe was asked to provide a definite answer, the magic vanished. With the detector in place, the photon suddenly behaved. It stopped being a ghostly wave of possibility. It became a simple, solid particle again. The detector would flash. It went through the left slit, and a dot would appear on the wall directly behind it. The next detector would flash. It went through the right slit, and a dot would appear there. And the pattern on the wall, the beautiful, mysterious stripes of interference, they completely disappeared. In their place were just two simple, solid lines. Exactly what you would expect from throwing sand. The very act of observing it, of asking the question, Force the particle to abandon its dreamlike state of infinite potential and choose a single, mundane reality. It's as if the universe has two sets of rules. One for when it is being watched, and a much stranger, more magical one for when it is not. So what does this tell us? What does this have to do with our garden of forking paths? The many worlds interpretation offers the most poetic and perhaps the most profound answer. It says that when we are not looking, the particle and the universe along with it does not have to choose. When that single photon approaches the two slits, the universe splits in two. In one universe, let's call it universe A, the photon goes through the left slit. In another parallel universe, a perfect copy of the first universe B, the photon goes through the right slit. Both of these universes are equally real, and you, the observer, have also been split into two identical copies. There is a you in universe A and a you in universe B. And the interference pattern? That is the breathtaking result. It is the shadow of that other universe, bleeding through into ours. The photon in your universe is subtly interacting across the thinnest veil of reality with its twin in the other universe. They are whispering to each other. The pattern on the wall is a conversation between two realities. It is the tangible, visible evidence that another world, another path, is running parallel to your own. When you place the detector to see which slit it goes through, you are essentially making a choice. You are deciding which of these two branches of reality you wish to inhabit. Your consciousness becomes entangled with the outcome. If your detector says left slit, you have simply followed the path into universe A. The you in universe B has seen their detector say right slit, and they have followed their path. The connection is severed, and the conversation between worlds falls silent. Each of you now sees only a simple particle and a simple single reality. The double-slit experiment, then, is not just a physics curiosity. It is a window, a tiny crack in the facade of reality, through which we can glimpse the breathtaking possibility that we are living in just one layer of an infinite, shimmering stack of worlds. It is the universe leaving us a clue, a soft whisper that says, "What you see is not all there is." Section 3. The Ghost in the Machine. Let us drift now from the cosmic scale of branching universes and the microscopic mystery of a single photon to a place somewhere in between. A place of quiet contemplation, a thought experiment that lives in a small, closed box. It's a space where life and death, being and not being, can exist together in a gentle, hazy truce. This is the world of Schrödinger's famous cat. This isn't a real story about a real cat, so you can let your mind be at ease. It is a parable, a metaphor created by the physicist Erwin Schrödinger to show just how strange, how counterintuitive, the quantum world truly is when you try to pull its logic into our own, everyday experience. He found the idea of a branching universe deeply unsettling, and he created this puzzle to highlight what he saw as its absurdity. And yet, in doing so, he gave us the most perfect, poignant image for the very thing we are exploring tonight, the delicate state of superposition. Imagine a simple, soundproof box, completely sealed from the outside world. There are no windows, no cracks, no way for us to know what is happening inside. We place a cat inside this box. Again, this is only a thought cat, a ghost in this conceptual machine, so it is safe and calm. Alongside the cat, we place a strange and delicate device. This device consists of a single radioactive atom, an atom that lives by the laws of quantum chance. It has a specific, known probability of decaying. Let's say that in the course of 1 hour, there is a perfect 50/50th chance that this atom will decay. A coin flip performed by the universe itself. If it decays, it releases a tiny subatomic particle. This particle, if released, will trigger a Geiger counter. The Geiger counter, in turn, is wired to a small hammer, and the hammer is poised to strike a vial of poison gas. If the atom decays, the hammer falls, the vial shatters, and the cat, our gentle thought cat, will be put to sleep. If the atom does not decay, the hammer remains still, the vial is intact, and the cat remains alive, perhaps purring softly in the dark. So we seal the box. We set a timer for 1 hour, and we wait. During that hour, the box sits before us, silent and still, and we must ask the question that lies at the heart of quantum mechanics. What is the state of the cat inside the box? Our common sense, our experience of the world, tells us the answer is simple even if we don't know it. The cat is either alive or it is dead. A definite event has happened inside that box, independent of us. The atom has either decayed or it hasn't. The coin has landed. We just don't know the outcome yet. Our ignorance doesn't change the reality inside. When we open the box, we are not deciding the cat's fate. We are simply discovering it. But quantum mechanics, in its most direct and haunting interpretation, says something else entirely. It says that as long as the box is closed, as long as the system is not observed, it does not settle on a single reality. The radioactive atom is not in a state of decayed or not decayed. It exists in a ghostly blend of both possibilities at once. It is a wave of potential just like our photon at the two slits. It is in a superposition of decaying and not decaying. And because the entire system is linked, the atom, the Geiger counter, the hammer, the vial, and the cat, this superposition extends to everything in the box. The hammer is both fallen and unfallen. The vial is both shattered and intact. And the cat is suspended in a state of being both perfectly alive and tragically dead at the same time. It is not that we don't know. It is that the universe itself has not yet decided. The cat exists as a shimmering, probabilistic cloud, a wave function describing a 50% living cat and a 50% dead cat, coexisting peacefully in the same space. A ghost in the machine, a life and a death held in perfect, paradoxical balance. This state, this superposition, is the essence of the quantum world before it is touched by observation. It is a realm of pure potential, a gentle dream where all outcomes are true. It is the moment before you chose your path this afternoon, when the futures of both the park and the street were equally real within you. It is the photon as a wave, embracing both slits at once. So what happens when the hour is up and we, the observers, decide to open the box? In that precise moment of interaction, the moment light from the outside world streams in and information about the cat's state can reach our consciousness, the dream ends. The wave of possibility, as we call it, collapses. The universe is forced to choose. And in that instant, the cat becomes one thing or the other. We open the lid, and we will find either a cat that is definitively alive, purring and stretching, or a cat that is definitively, tragically still. The standard interpretation of quantum mechanics, the Copenhagen interpretation, says that at the moment of our observation, one of these realities was randomly selected, and the other one simply ceased to exist. It vanished into nothingness, like a dream upon waking. But the many worlds interpretation, the one we are gently exploring tonight, offers a different, less lonely, and perhaps more elegant answer. It says that the universe never has to choose. The superposition never truly collapses. When we open the box, the universe branches. In the moment our consciousness becomes entangled with the state of the cat, we are split along with it. In one branch of reality, you open the box and find a living cat. A wave of relief washes over you. This universe, your universe, is now one in which the atom did not decay. But in another universe, a perfect copy of you, at the very same instant, opens the very same box and finds the other outcome. A wave of sadness washes over this other you. Their universe is now one in which the atom did decay. Both outcomes happen. Both are real. There is no collapse, only a branching. You, the observer, are not a decider who destroys possibilities. You are a sorter, a traveler who simply follows one of these branching pathways of reality. The superposition of the cat wasn't a description of one strange, paradoxical animal. It was a description of two different cats in two different, emerging worlds. The ghost in the machine was, in fact, two very real beings, just waiting for reality to give them each their own room to exist. So this famous paradox, this cat, is perhaps the most powerful metaphor for what happens at every quantum event. Before observation, reality is a soft, undefined hum of potentiala superposition. This is the trunk of the tree. After observation, reality cleaves into distinct, definite states, the branches. Each branch is a complete, self-contained universe with its own history, its own future, and its own version of you, now certain of the outcome you have witnessed. The world we experience, the solid, definite, classical world where cats are either alive or dead but never both, is simply the world after the branching. We are always riding along one of these newly formed branches. We cannot perceive the moment of the split itself, just as a train passenger on a branching track cannot feel the moment the rails diverge. They simply find themselves on a track heading towards a specific destination. So as you lie here, in the quiet of your room, think of the world around you. Think of the countless, unobserved quantum events happening in the air, in the walls, in the earth beneath you. Each one a tiny Schrödinger's cat experiment. Each one a tiny coin flip. And with each flip, the universe you inhabit is gently, silently, and ceaselessly branching, creating new worlds, new timelines, new stories. The soft hum you might almost hear in the deepest silence is not the sound of emptiness. It is the sound of infinite creation. Section 4. An infinity of worlds is born. The soft, constant hum of a universe ceaselessly branching, creating new realities with every fleeting quantum moment. This is not just an anonymous whisper from the cosmos. It is an idea that had a father. It was born in the mind of a brilliant and audacious young physics student in the 1950s, a man who dared to look at the strange equations of the quantum world and believe them completely. His name was Everett III. Imagine him, a young man surrounded by the giants of physics, people like Niels Bohr, the architect of the standard Copenhagen interpretation. This established view held that the strange, ghostly world of superposition, our cat being both alive and dead, was a temporary, fragile state. It insisted that the act of observation, the intrusion of our classical conscious world, forced the universe to make a choice, to collapse its wave of potential into a single, concrete reality. The other possibilities were not just unchosen, they were erased from existence. There was a profound mystery in this collapse, a kind of magic. What was so special about an observer? Was it a human consciousness? A Geiger counter? A camera? Where was the line between the hazy quantum world and our solid one? No one truly knew. It was a beautiful but ultimately arbitrary line drawn in the sand, a rule added to the mathematics to make it match our experience. Everett looked at this and felt a deep intellectual dissatisfaction, felt untidy, felt like a story with a missing chapter. He looked at the elegant core equation of quantum mechanics, the Schrödinger equation, which describes how quantum systems evolve over time. This equation is beautiful, deterministic, and smooth. It describes the wave of possibility flowing and changing like a perfect, unbroken river. Nowhere in that fundamental equation was there any mention of a sudden, violent collapse. Nowhere did it say the river must suddenly vanish, leaving only a single droplet behind. So Everett asked a question that was at once profoundly simple and shatteringly bold. What if there is no collapse? What if the equation is right all along? What if the wave function never collapses? He proposed that the feeling of collapse is just an illusion, an artifact of our limited perspective. The universe, he suggested, never throws away possibilities. It cherishes them, It accommodates them all. And how does it accommodate them? It branches. Let's return to our box with the cat. When you, the observer, prepare to open it, you too are a quantum system. You are made of atoms and particles, just like the cat, just like the radioactive atom. Before you open the box, you are in a state of potential. You are a person about to see a living cat and a person about to see a dead cat. Your own wave function contains both future versions of yourself. According to Everett, when you open the box and your consciousness interacts with the system, you don't collapse the cat's reality. Instead, the entire system, you and the cat together, evolves smoothly, following the unbroken rules of the Schrödinger equation. The universe cleaves cleanly and perfectly into two. In one universe, the atom didn't decay, the cat is alive, and you see a living cat. This version of you feels relief. This you will now continue on a timeline where the cat survived. In the other universe, which has just branched off from yours, the atom did decay, the cat is dead, and the other you sees a dead cat. That version of you feels sadness. They will now continue on a timeline where the cat did not survive. Both of these universes are completely real. Both versions of you are completely you. They share your memories up until the exact moment the box was opened. From that point on, their experiences will diverge, perhaps only slightly at first, but they are now on separate paths in the great cosmic garden. This was the core of Everett's relative state formulation, which would later be called the many worlds interpretation. It removed the observer from a special, privileged position. You are not a magical being who forces reality to bend to your gaze. You are a part of reality. You are swept along by its currents, just like everything else. And when the current of reality splits, you are split along with it. The implications are staggering, and they ripple outwards from that simple idea. It means the double-slit experiment is no longer a paradox. The photon doesn't have to magically know it's being watched. When it passes through the slits unobserved, the universe splits. One world contains a photon going through the left slit, the other a photon going through the right. The interference pattern is the shadow of these two worlds interacting. When you place a detector, you are simply splitting along with the photon, following one path and losing contact with the other. The conversation between worlds goes silent. This losing contact is a crucial idea known as decoherence. It answers the most obvious and pressing question: if these worlds are real, why can't we see them? Why don't we feel ourselves splitting? The answer is that once the branching occurs, the two or more universes can no longer interact. Their wave functions become desynchronized. They are like two radio stations broadcasting on different frequencies. Even though they both exist in the same room, your radio can only be tuned to one at a time. You cannot hear the other. So you drift along in your universe, completely unaware of the countless other versions of you, each drifting along in theirs. The splits are not violent tears in the fabric of space. They are silent, seamless, and perfect duplications. It is the universe's way of preserving all information, of letting every possibility have its day in the sun. Everett's idea was met with skepticism, even ridicule at the time. It seemed too extravagant, too much like science fiction. But over the decades, as our understanding of quantum mechanics has deepened, his interpretation has gained more and more traction. For many physicists, its sheer elegance and simplicity are its greatest strengths. It requires no new physics, no magical collapse. It only requires that we have the courage to believe what the mathematics has been telling us all along. Think of the sheer scale of it. It's not just when a physicist opens a box. The universe is branching at an incomprehensible rate. Every time a particle of cosmic radiation strikes the Earth's atmosphere, every time a photon from a distant star is absorbed or reflected, every time a radioactive atom deep in the Earth's core chooses to decay or not, a split occurs. There are more worlds being created in every single second than there are atoms in the universe we can see. An explosion of reality. A silent, ongoing creation of staggering proportions. In this very moment, as you breathe in, the quantum interactions in your own lungs are branching the universe. As you breathe out, new worlds are born. Worlds where you took a slightly deeper breath. Worlds where you didn't. Most of these worlds are almost indistinguishable from our own, differing only in the position of a few stray atoms. They are our closest neighbors, our cosmic siblings, separated by the thinnest of veils. This is the legacy of Everett. He gave us a cosmos not of lonely, singular events, but of infinite, parallel richness. He replaced a universe of lost possibilities with a multiverse of complete and total fulfillment. He took a ghost in a machine and proposed that it was actually a sign of two living worlds about to be born. So let that thought cradle you. The idea that reality is not a single narrow path, but a vast, endlessly unfolding tapestry. And you are not just one thread within it. You are countless threads, weaving countless beautiful and unique patterns, all at once. Section 5. Echoes of You and Other Selves. Let us now drift into the quiet, personal heart of this immense, branching reality. The idea of an infinite number of universes is a concept so vast it can feel abstract, like a distant galaxy you can admire but never touch. But the many worlds interpretation brings this cosmic grandeur down to the most intimate scale imaginable. It suggests that out there, in these silent, parallel streams of reality, there are other versions of you. Let this thought settle gently in your mind. This is not a metaphor. It is the direct, logical consequence of the continuous, silent branching of the cosmos. If every quantum event creates a new world, then every moment of your life that contained even a shred of quantum uncertainty has also created a new world with a new version of you to inhabit it. Imagine these other selves. They are not strangers. They are you in the most literal sense. They have your name, your face, your memories, your hopes, your fears, right up until the moment of divergence. They are as real as the self you feel yourself to be right now, lying in this bed, listening to these words. Some of these other yous are so close you could almost hear them breathe if the veil between worlds were just a little thinner. Think back to a moment today when you hesitated. Perhaps you almost chose a different shirt to wear this morning. In the instant of that choice, a universe branched. In one, you are here, in the clothes you wore today. In another, a nearly identical you is settling down for the night, having gone through an almost identical day except for the color of their shirt. A trivial difference, a tiny edit in the grand story. But that other you is real. They are thinking their own thoughts, dreaming their own dreams, completely unaware of your existence, just as you are of theirs. Think of a slightly more significant choice. The choice to make a phone call or to let it wait until tomorrow. In one world, you made the call. The conversation happened. It may have changed your mood or given you new information that subtly altered the rest of your day. In another world, the one you inhabit, you did not make the call. The silence of that non-conversation has its own subtle consequences. These two versions of you are now on slightly different emotional and experiential tracks. Their futures, from this point forward, will drift apart like two boats that were once tied together but are now being pushed by slightly different currents. And we can go further. Think of the bigger forks in the road of your life. The job you took and the one you turned down. The city you moved to and the one you left behind. The person you started a relationship with and the one with whom things never quite began. According to the many worlds view, you didn't just make a choice. Reality itself expanded to accommodate every possibility. Out there, in a parallel stream of existence, there is a version of you living in that other city. They wake up to a different view from their window. They walk different streets. They have different friends, a different routine. But they are still you. They carry the same core identity, the same history up to that point of decision. Do they ever wonder, on a quiet night, what their life would have been like if they had made a different choice? Do they ever wonder about you? It's a humbling and in many ways a comforting thought. It means that no potential is ever truly lost. It is simply realized in another branch of reality. The you that pursued a career as an artist, the you that learned to play the piano, the you that traveled the world, these are not lost dreams. They are living, breathing realities being experienced by other versions of yourself. You are, in a sense, a collective. A chorus of selves each singing their own verse of the same song. But the branching doesn't just happen because of our choices. It happens because of random external events. Imagine a world where the train you were on yesterday was delayed by 5 minutes due to a minor signal failure. A tiny random event. But in that world, you arrived home 5 minutes later. Perhaps you missed a phone call. Perhaps you saw a different sunset. A small change, but a real one. There is a version of you whose life is now subtly but permanently different from your own. And the differences can be much, much larger. We can imagine worlds that branched from ours long ago. Worlds where a different political decision was made a century ago, leading to a completely different global landscape today. There is a you living in that world. A you whose life has been shaped by a different history, speaking a slightly different language, holding different cultural values. We can go even further back. Imagine a world that branched off 66 million years ago. A world where the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs missed the Earth. In that world, there is no you. There is no humanity. It is a world ruled by different forms of life. A lush, alien planet that shares a common ancestor with our own Earth, but has followed a profoundly different evolutionary path. That entire reality, silent and majestic, exists parallel to ours. And then there are the worlds where the fundamental constants of physics themselves are slightly different. These branches would have occurred in the very first moments after the Big Bang. A world where gravity is a little stronger and stars burn out more quickly. A world where the electromagnetic force is a little weaker and atoms cannot hold together. Most of these universes would be sterile, dark, and empty. But some, through sheer, unimaginable chance, might harbor forms of existence so alien we could not even comprehend them. The multiverse, then, is a spectrum. At one end, you have your closest neighbors, worlds so similar to this one that the only difference is the spin of a single electron in a distant star. At the other end, you have realities that are unrecognizably alien. And you, the vast collective you, exist across the spectrum. There is a version of you who is happier than you can imagine. There is a version of you who has known greater sorrow. There is a you who is a hero, and a you who has made terrible mistakes. There is a you who is sleeping soundly, and a you who is wide awake, looking up at a different set of stars, wondering about the nature of reality. As you lie here, feel the presence of these other selves. Not as a weight, but as a silent, supportive network. They are the living embodiment of all your potential. They are the proof that every path is walked, every song is sung. You are not alone in your experience. You are part of an infinite ensemble. And your life, the one you are living right now, is not just one random, lonely outcome. It is a unique, precious, and complete story among an infinity of others. It is your specific, sacred verse in the poem of the cosmos. Let this thought expand in the quiet of your mind. The idea of other yous, living other lives, echoes of yourself in the grand, silent halls of the multiverse. Section 6. The Great Cosmic Library. We have imagined our reality as a branching garden, a path that splits and splits again. We have pictured parallel worlds as separate rooms, adjacent but forever sealed from one another. These are useful images, but they can also feel lonely, suggesting a cosmos of infinite separation. Let us now try on a new metaphor, a new way to feel this boundless reality. An image that speaks not of separation, but of inclusion. Imagine that the multiverse is not a series of disconnected boxes, but a single, infinite library. Breathe in and picture it. You are standing in its entrance hall. There is no ceiling, only a soft, dark expanse shimmering with what looks like distant starlight. The air is still and cool, carrying the gentle, ancient scent of paper and cosmic dust. There is a silence here so profound that you can almost hear the soft hum of existence itself. This is the Great Cosmic Library, and it contains every story that has ever been possible. Every book on its endless, towering shelves is a universe. Walk with me now down one of the aisles. The shelves stretch up further than your eye can see. Each book is bound in a unique cover. Some are vast, heavy tomes bound in dark leather and embossed with spiraling galaxies. These are universes that have lived for trillions of years, full of complex, sprawling sagas. Others are slim volumes, thin as a leaflet, their stories brief and fleeting, universes that sparked into being and fizzled out in an instant, a cosmic sentence fragment. Your own universe, the one you are experiencing right now, is one of these books. Your life is a chapter within it. Every person you have ever known, every star you have ever seen, every event in the history of your world is written on its pages. It is a complete and self-contained story from the first word, the Big Bang, to the very last. You are, in a sense, both the character and the reader of this book. Your consciousness moves through the story, turning the page simply by living each moment. You cannot skip ahead and you cannot go back to reread a previous chapter. You can only experience the story as it unfolds, word by word, line by line. And because you are so immersed in your own story, you are unaware of all the other books that surround you. Look to your left on the shelf. Right next to your book, there is another one. It looks almost identical. The same binding, the same title, the same number of pages. If you were to open it, you would find the story is exactly the same as yours, word for word, until you reach a certain page, perhaps halfway through your own chapter. And there, a single word is different. The word yes instead of no. The word left instead of right. This is the book of the universe where you took the other path this afternoon. It is your closest neighbor in the library. And next to it is another where the only difference is that a single leaf fell from a tree in a forest you've never visited. The shelves are packed with these near-identical copies, these different editions of the same grand narrative. These are your sibling worlds, the echoes of you we spoke of before. They are not in another dimension in the way we often think of it. They are right here, on the same shelf, bound by the same fundamental physics, differing only in the fine print of their history. Now, let's wander to a different aisle. The books here look very different. The bindings are made of strange materials, the titles written in alphabets you do not recognize. This is the section of the library containing worlds that branched from ours long ago. Here is the Book of the Earth where the dinosaurs never died. It's a thick, heavy volume filled with epic tales of Saurian evolution and a planet lush and green, but utterly alien to you. The character of you does not exist in this story. Here is another aisle where the books seem to hum with a strange energy. The laws of physics themselves are different here. This is the experimental fiction section of the library. A book where gravity is weaker, its story filled with colossal, spindly structures and creatures that float through the air. A book where the speed of light is slower, a story that unfolds at a sluggish, dreamlike pace. Most of these books are very short, their pages blank. They are failed universes, stories whose fundamental grammar was too unstable to allow for a coherent plot. What this library metaphor gives us is a sense of unity. These worlds, these books, are not floating in a disconnected void. They are all housed within the same structure. They are all part of the same collection. The same quiet air touches every spine. The same soft, ambient light illuminates every title. They are all written, in a sense, with the same ink of energy and on the same paper of spacetime. They spring from the same fundamental principles, the same deep logic of the cosmos, just as all the books in a terrestrial library are bound by the rules of language and the physical properties of ink and paper. This library has no librarian. It is not curated or organized by any outside intelligence. It is the product of pure possibility. It is the simple, elegant, and mind-boggling consequence of a universe that says yes to everything. Every story that can be written is written. Every grammatical possibility is explored. Every combination of plot and character is given its own volume. The feeling of decoherence, the reason you cannot simply reach out and open the book next to yours, is woven into the very nature of the library. To read a book, you must give it your full attention. You must enter its world. You cannot read two books at once. Your consciousness, by its very nature, binds itself to a single narrative. The other stories continue their own telling, their pages turning in the great silence, but their words are lost to you, their plot unfolding just beyond your perception. So, as you rest here tonight, imagine yourself not as a lonely traveler on a single path, but as a resident of this infinite, silent, and majestic library. You are living out one of the most beautiful and complex stories ever told. Your book is filled with love and sorrow and wonder and peace. It is a unique and precious volume in a collection of infinite variety. You do not need to read all the other books. You do not need to feel the weight of their infinite stories. It is enough, perhaps, to simply know that the library exists. To know that the silence of your room is not empty, but is in fact the quiet, respectful hush of the great library. It is the sound of all possible stories resting peacefully on their shelves all around you. And the soft rustling you might almost hear is the turning of their infinite pages, a gentle, cosmic lullaby. Section 7. You, the decisive observer. We have journeyed through a garden of forking paths, peered through the impossible window of the two slits, and wandered the silent, infinite aisles of a cosmic library. In all these landscapes of the mind, we have spoken of the universe splitting, of worlds branching, of reality cleaving in two. But we have left one gentle, central question softly humming in the background. What part do you play in all of this? What is the role of your own quiet, steady consciousness in this endless, silent creation? In the older stories of quantum mechanics, the observer was a kind of magician, a powerful, mysterious figure who stood outside the system and, with a single glance, forced the dreamlike world of potential to shatter and fall into a single, concrete state. The observer was a destroyer of possibilities. But in the world we are exploring tonight, the world of Hugh Everett's grand, branching reality, your role is something far more profound and far more poetic. You are not a destroyer of worlds. You are not a commander who issues decrees to the cosmos. You are a participant. You are a partner. Your simple, sacred act of looking does not end the story of possibility. It simply decides which chapter of that story you will inhabit. Let's imagine the universe, at any given moment before an observation, as a single, pure beam of white light. It is beautiful, complete, and whole, but contained within it, sleeping and latent, are all the colors of the rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. All possibilities, all potential outcomes, are traveling together in perfect harmony. This is the state of superposition, the cat that is both alive and dead, the photon that is passing through both slits. Now, let's imagine your consciousness, your awareness as a crystal prism. It is perfectly clear, exquisitely cut, waiting patiently. When you decide to look, to measure, to know, you are placing this prism of your awareness into the path of that white light of potential. And what happens when light passes through a prism? It does not collapse. It is not destroyed. It blossoms. It unfurls into its constituent colors. The single beam of white light reveals the beautiful spectrum it held within it all along. This is what happens when you observe a quantum event. Your act of looking, of knowing, of becoming entangled with the outcome, causes the universe to unfurl. The universe where the cat lives is the red light, now traveling on its own path. The universe where the cat is sleeping is the green light, now traveling on its own, separate path. Each possible outcome becomes its own beautiful, distinct stream of reality. And you? You are not the light, and you are not just the prism. In the act of observing, you become entangled with one of those colors. Your consciousness is swept along one of those streams. If you open the box and find a living cat, your awareness is now painted with the frequency of that reality. You are now traveling along the red beam of light. You experience a single, definite outcome. But the green beam, the blue beam, and all the others have not vanished. They are still there, streaming away from the prism, carrying their own stories, their own realities, and their own versions of you. Another you, just as real as you are, is now bathed in the green light of the other outcome. You have simply decohered. You have tuned yourself to a single frequency, and you can no longer perceive the others. So your role is decisive, but not in the way of a king. You are decisive in the way of a traveler who comes to a fork in the road and must choose a path. The other path doesn't vanish when you make your choice. It continues to exist, and it will be walked by another version of you. Your decision is simply to determine which landscape your own personal journey will continue through. This happens with every act of perception. The quiet miracle of your attention is a constant, gentle interaction with the cosmos. Feel the soft weight of the blanket upon you. That sensation, that tiny piece of information entering your awareness, is an act of anchoring. You are making a gentle handshake with this specific reality. You are, in that moment, reinforcing your connection to the universe where the blanket has this exact texture, this exact temperature. In a nearby world, a world you just branched from, a stray molecule of air settled differently, and the blanket feels a fraction of a degree cooler to another you. Listen to the sound of my voice. The vibrations of these words reaching your ears and being interpreted by your brain is another act of entanglement. You are choosing to inhabit the universe where these specific words are being spoken in this specific way. You are tuning the radio of your consciousness to this particular broadcast, and in doing so, you are becoming part of the story you observe. This elevates your existence from being a mere passenger, a passive witness, to a story already written, to being an active navigator. You do not command the great river of reality, but you do hold the rudder of your own small vessel. With every glance, every touch, every thought, you are making tiny, subtle adjustments, aligning yourself with one of the infinite currents in that river. You are co-creating your experienced reality moment by moment by moment. There is a deep intimacy in this idea. It means the universe is not some cold, distant machine that runs independently of you. You are woven into its very fabric. Your consciousness is not a ghost in the machine. It is a fundamental part of its operation. The cosmos unfolds through you, and you unfold with it. This perspective can soften the edges of our perception. It gives a certain sacredness to the mundane. The simple act of watching a leaf fall becomes a profound choice to follow the timeline where it tumbles in just that way. The act of tasting a sip of water is an agreement to be part of the world where those molecules quench your thirst. You are in a constant, silent, and beautiful dance with reality. And as you prepare for sleep, what is that in this context? It is, perhaps, a gentle letting go of the rudder. It is allowing your vessel to drift. It is pulling the prism of your focused awareness out of the light. In the state of dreaming, perhaps your consciousness is no longer tethered to a single color, a single stream. Perhaps dreams are the gentle memory of the white light itself, a space where your mind can playfully recombine the colors, exploring the stories of paths not taken, dipping its toes in the rivers of other possibilities. You are not small or insignificant in this vast, branching cosmos. You are the nexus point. You are the lens through which a universe comes to know itself. Your awareness is the mechanism by which potential blossoms into the actual. And every single moment of your quiet, beautiful life is a decisive act of creation. Choosing not for the universe, but for you. Choosing this world, this moment, this breath. Section 8, Whispers of Proof, Murmurs of Doubt. As we float here, in this quiet space between wakefulness and dream, a gentle, human question may surface in your mind. It is a natural question, one that arises from our deep need for connection, for grounding. The question is soft, but clear: is any of this real? Beyond the elegant mathematics and the beautiful metaphors, has the universe ever given us a hint, a sign, a faint fingerprint of these other worlds we are imagining? The search for such a sign is not a loud, aggressive hunt. It is more like listening for a single quiet bird call in a vast, ancient forest at twilight. It is a science of patience, of sifting through the noise of the cosmos for the faintest whisper of a signal. And while there is no definitive, undeniable proof, there are intriguing murmurs. There are strange anomalies in the fabric of the cosmos that make some scientists pause and wonder, and look towards the idea of a multiverse for a possible answer. Let us drift back in our minds to the very beginning of our own universe. Imagine being able to see its first light. Not the light of stars, which would not be born for hundreds of millions of years, but the afterglow of creation itself. This is the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in the universe. It is a faint, warm wash of energy that fills all of space, a kind of cosmic baby picture of our universe when it was just 380,000 years old. This afterglow is almost perfectly uniform, the same temperature everywhere you look. Almost, but when our most sensitive instruments mapped this ancient light, they found tiny, subtle variations. Ripples of slightly warmer and slightly cooler areas. And in this map of the infant cosmos, there is one particular spot. A vast, unusually cold patch in the sky. It has been called the CMB cold spot, or the Eridanus supervoid. It is a region of space far larger and far colder than our standard models of the universe can easily explain. It is a statistical anomaly, a puzzle. And while there are several possible explanations, one of the most breathtaking, one that makes the heart leap, is the idea that this is not a feature of our universe, but a feature caused by another one. Imagine the very early multiverse as a gentle, bubbling foam. Countless infant universes, each one a bubble, expanding in a higher dimensional space. Perhaps in that primordial chaos, another bubble universe gently bumped into our own. A cosmic nudge in the cradle. This collision, this gentle jostling between two nascent realities could have left a bruise. A faint, cool patch in our universe's first light, an echo of a touch from another world forever imprinted on the fabric of our sky. It is a whisper. A single, ambiguous word spoken from the dawn of time. And there are whispers to be found not just in the distant past, but right here, right now, in the machines we are building. The strange magic of quantum mechanics is no longer just a thought experiment. We are learning how to harness it. We are building quantum computers. Imagine a quantum computer not as a device of silicon and wires, but as a small, captured piece of the quantum realm itself. Tame dream. A normal computer works like our common sense. It tries one solution, then another in a line. It walks down one path at a time. But a quantum computer, because it can exist in a superposition of states, can explore a vast number of possibilities all at the same time. It is, in a sense, our Schrödinger's cat in a box, but put to work. It holds all the potential answer the living cat and the dead cat simultaneously. For a certain class of incredibly complex problems, a quantum computer could find a solution in minutes that would take a classical computer billions of years. And the many worlds interpretation offers the most astonishing explanation for why. It suggests that the quantum computer is not just working in our universe. It is outsourcing its labor. In that state of superposition, it is reaching across the veil, tapping into the resources of its parallel universe counterparts. Each branch of reality works on a piece of the problem, and the final answer emerges from this vast, silent, parallel computation. It is a conversation between worlds taking place inside a tiny, supercooled chip. If this is true, then every time a quantum computer solves such a problem, it is offering circumstantial evidence for the existence of these other worlds, whose resources it has just borrowed. But it is important, as we drift here in honest wonder, to acknowledge that not everyone reads this cosmic poetry in the same way. The many worlds interpretation is just one story, one beautiful and elegant attempt to make sense of the mystery. There are other stories, other interpretations that are just as profound. They are not rivals in a battle, but different artists painting the same impossible landscape. There is the older, more stoic view, the Copenhagen interpretation, which we have touched upon. It does not imagine a branching garden. It sees a more decisive, perhaps more lonely universe. A universe that, when faced with a choice, makes one and lets the other possibilities simply dissolve into the silence of what might have been. It is a universe that values the single, definite present moment above all else and tidies up the ghosts of other futures before they can take root. The collapse of the wave function is, in this story, a fundamental and mysterious law of nature, a curtain that falls, leaving only one actor on the stage. And there is another, deeply poetic idea known as pilot wave theory. This story says that particles are always real, solid things. Our electron is always in a definite place. But it is not traveling alone. It is being guided like a piece of driftwood on an ocean current by an invisible pilot wave. This wave is not made of matter, but of pure information. It spreads out and explores all possible paths, flowing through both slits at once. It feels the entire environment, and then it gently, invisibly guides the solid particle on its one true course. The interference pattern is not the result of the particle interfering with itself, but the result of this vast, hidden wave which has explored all the possibilities, choreographing the dance of the particles. It is a universe not of infinite copies, but of hidden guidance, a secret, underlying reality that tells this one where to go. So, which story is true? The branching garden, the decisive curtain fall, or the invisible guiding hand? The truth is, we do not know. And perhaps, for tonight, that is the most peaceful answer of all. These are not problems to be solved before you can drift into sleep. They are simply different windows to look through, each offering a different, beautiful view of the same deep, central mystery. The mystery is that the world, at its deepest level, is not the solid, predictable place we thought it was. It is a world of potential, of possibility, of a magic far stranger and more beautiful than we could have ever imagined. And whether that magic manifests as an infinity of worlds or a hidden guiding hand, it is magic all the same. It is the universe whispering to us, in whatever language we are willing to hear, that there is more to reality than meets the eye. Section 9. Living in a boundless reality. As our gentle journey through the quantum cosmos begins to slow, as we drift closer to the shores of sleep, let us bring these vast and wondrous ideas back home, into the quiet space of our own hearts. For what is the point of imagining an infinite library or a garden of forking paths if it does not, in some small way, change the way the air feels in our own room? How does living in a boundless, branching reality softly reshape the way we think about our own, single, precious life? Perhaps the first gift of this perspective is a gentle easing of the weight of regret. Think of a choice you have made in your life that you wish you could take back. A word spoken in anger. An opportunity not taken. A kindness not offered. We all carry these moments. They can feel like heavy stones in our pockets, moments where we feel we took the wrong path. We replay them in our minds, imagining a better version of ourselves who chose differently, who walked through the other door. The many worlds view whispers a different story. It suggests that the better you're imagining is not a fantasy. They are real. In the moment of that difficult choice, the universe did not force you down a single, flawed path. It branched. A version of you, just as real as you are, did make the other choice. There is a world where you held your tongue. A world where you took the chance. A world where you offered the kindness. That doesn't erase the consequences of the choice made in this timeline, the one you are experiencing. The sadness or difficulty you may have faced is real, but it reframes it. Your mistake was not the only outcome. The potential for goodness in you was not lost, it was simply realized in a different branch. You are part of a larger, collective self that has explored every option. The regretful you and the proud you are two sides of the same coin, two characters in the same grand, multi-volume story. Knowing this can allow a quiet sense of peace to settle. It allows for a kind of cosmic forgiveness. You can look upon your past with a softer gaze, knowing that the story wasn't as simple as right and wrong. It was a story of, and this happened and that happened. You are part of a self who has learned from both outcomes. The weight in your pocket might not disappear, but perhaps it feels a little lighter, like a stone that has been smoothed over by the gentle river of time. This perspective also brings a profound and sacred importance to the life you are living right now. If there are infinite versions of you living out infinite lives, it might be easy to feel that your own life is insignificant, just one grain of sand on an endless beach. But the opposite can also be true. The fact that you are experiencing this specific combination of events, this unique story, makes it exquisitely precious. Out of all the infinite books in the great cosmic library, your consciousness is awake and reading this one. This is your copy. Your signature is on the inside cover. The specific joy you felt watching a sunset last week, the particular comfort of a warm drink on a cold day, the unique sound of a loved one's laughter, these are the details of your chapter. Another you in another world is experiencing their own joys, their own comforts. But they are not these. These are yours alone. This awareness can transform the mundane into the miraculous. It encourages a deep and gentle mindfulness. When you take a walk, you are not just taking a walk. You are choosing, with every step, to inhabit the universe where the light falls in just this way, where the breeze feels just so on your skin. You are an artist, and your attention is the paintbrush, selecting the specific colors and textures of your experienced reality from an infinite palette of possibilities. This makes your timeline, your thread in the great tapestry, sacred. It is not better or worse than any other thread. It is simply uniquely yours. And it is your privilege and your purpose to experience it fully, to feel its specific texture, to follow its specific color. This is not a dress rehearsal. It is not one of many drafts. For you, the consciousness experiencing this moment, this is the final, published story. And that makes every word, every sentence, every page worthy of your gentle, loving attention. Finally, embracing this boundless view of reality can cultivate a deep sense of connection. It's easy to feel separate. Separate from other people, from nature, from the universe at large. But if the universe is constantly branching, born from the interactions of its smallest parts, then everything is profoundly interconnected. The universe you experience is a co-creation of every particle and every field interacting with every other. You are not a solitary being living in a universe. You are a part of the universe that is experiencing itself. And what of your connection to those other selves? You cannot speak to them, you cannot see them. But you are all born from the same source. You share a common history. You are like leaves on a vast, ancient tree. Each leaf has its own unique placement, its own pattern of veins, its own experience of the sun and the rain. But you are all connected, through the branches, through the trunk, to the same deep, unseen roots. There is a quiet solidarity in knowing that somewhere another you is facing their own challenges with the same strength you possess. Another you is feeling joy, adding to the total sum of happiness in the multiverse. Another you is sleeping soundly just as you are about to. You are all part of the same great cosmic family. You are all expressions of the same fundamental wave of existence, just vibrating at slightly different frequencies. So as you lie here, on the cusp of sleep, let these feelings settle. A gentle release of regret, a deep appreciation for the precious, unique now, and a quiet sense of connection to all things, to all the stories being told. Your life is not a lonely, accidental spark. It is a necessary, beautiful, and integral part of a reality far grander and more loving than we can ever fully know. Section 10. Drifting on the Quantum Sea. And so, our gentle inquiry comes to a close. We have wandered through gardens and libraries of the mind. We have listened for whispers from the dawn of time, and we have felt the deep, quiet connection to the countless stories that run parallel to our own. Now, there is nothing left to do but to let go, to release these wondrous, complex thoughts and allow them to dissolve, like sugar in warm water, into the vast, peaceful ocean of your own consciousness. Imagine all these ideas, the branching paths, the other selves, the shimmering wave of potential are no longer concepts to be understood, but simply textures in the water around you. You are no longer standing on the shore trying to map the ocean. You are floating in it. This is the quantum sea, the boundless ocean of being from which all realities arise. Feel the gentle, rhythmic swell of this ocean. Each wave that lifts and lowers you is a possibility. A wave of a world where you are dreaming of ancient mountains. A wave of a world where you are dreaming of flying. A wave of a world where you are simply resting, deeply and peacefully. You do not need to choose a wave. You can simply allow them to pass through you, to be rocked by the gentle, infinite pulse of what could be. The distinction between you and the ocean begins to blur. Your breath, rising and falling, is the tide. In and out. The slow, steady rhythm of your heartbeat is the deep, ancient pulse of the cosmos itself. You are not separate from this sea of potential. You are a part of it. You are a wave within it. The other worlds are no longer out there in some other place. They are here. They are the water that holds you. The very fabric of your being is woven from the same threads of possibility that weave all the other worlds. The other yous are not distant strangers, but the very substance of the sea you are drifting upon. You are held and supported and cradled by the totality of all that is and all that could ever be. Think of your mind as the surface of this deep, dark water. Throughout the day, it is busy with the wind and the currents of thought and perception, creating ripples and patterns. But now, as you drift towards sleep, the wind is calming. The surface becomes still, smooth, and clear. A perfect mirror reflecting the soft, dark expanse above. And what is the act of dreaming in this final, peaceful metaphor? It is the moment you gently sink beneath the surface. You leave the world of single, definite reflections and descend into the deep, quiet, fluid world of pure potential. Down here, in the silent, timeless depths, the rules are different. Here, you can be both the observer and the observed. You can be you and you can be someone else. You can walk through walls, you can breathe underwater, you can speak with the stars. Dreaming is your nightly return to the quantum realm. It is your consciousness taking a vacation from the responsibility of choosing a single reality and instead swimming freely in the ocean of all of them. It is a reminder, written in the soft language of symbol and feeling, that your true nature is not this single, solid body, but something far more vast, fluid, and free. So let go now. Let go of the story of who you are, just for tonight. Let go of the timeline you have been following. Release the rudder. Allow the gentle currents of the quantum sea to carry you. There is nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to be. You are simply returning home to the boundless, peaceful, and infinitely creative source from which you came. The soft hum of the universe is your lullaby. The gentle rocking of infinite possibilities is your cradle. You are safe. You are whole. You are part of everything. Now, as our journey ends, let the last of these thoughts drift away like feathers on a soft breeze. Let the quiet of your room hold you. Let the comfort of your bed cradle you. May your rest be deep and restorative. May your dreams be peaceful journeys through wondrous worlds. And may you awaken refreshed, ready to continue writing the next beautiful, unique, and precious page of your own sacred story. Sleep well.